Where's your piece? You want to show what you did on the cruise?
Well,
You already did it.
no, hold on a second.
Hi.
So this is one of my favorite types of floss tubes to do when I get to visit a shop, and what a shop this is in Honolulu, Hawaii. So if you ever get a chance to come to Honolulu, you've got to come to Fiddlesticks too. So here I am with two of the three shop owners, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves first and tell us a little bit about what they like to do other than needlework.
Oh,
Huh?
Now I'm throwing them curveballs. We've had no practice here whatsoever.
Go ahead, Adele.
Well, I used to do ceramics. I mean, I have a major in ceramics and, a master's in ceramics. But when I came back to Hawaii, it was really hard to find, you don't have much choice as far as clay because they order it pre-made and ship it. So it's pretty expensive
Yes.
to do. And so I had already purchased some needlepoint, a couple of needlepoint canvases, but I got the needlepoint Bible,
Yes.
and I couldn't figure out what the hell they were saying. So I was walking on the street one day going back to the car shop, and I saw Fiddlesticks. It was still Fiddlesticks.
Still
yeah.
Fiddlesticks, yes.
And so I walked in. I said, "Do you guys have classes? Because I need help." And so I started off with beginning cross stitch class. I mean, not cross stitch, needlepoint. And I really like needlepoint because it's very close to weaving. And
Yes.
weaving was my minor.
Ah.
So it's like with all the pattern weaves and all that kind of stuff. So I really fell in love with. I like fibrous stuff anyhow.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that happens with people who do cross stitch or needlepoint. What they really love are textiles.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to pause for 1 second. So we're back because I just checked to make sure that I hit the record button because I don't want to miss any of this good stuff. So when you said that you had a degree in ceramics and weaving, where did you get that degree?
I got my undergraduate at University of Michigan, and I got my graduate degree at the Eastern Michigan University.
Wow.
So I did.
Okay, wait. So Michigan is a little ways away from Hawaii. So now, did you grow up here?
Yes. So
But
I
went to college in Michigan.
Well, my second degree was in Michigan.
Okay.
My second and third degrees are in Michigan. I have a biology degree. I started out with a biology degree. And then my last semester in biology, I talked to the zoology's illustrator. And she said, it's a really great way to incorporate your love of art into, the biology, to work with research and stuff. And but when I started taking the art classes, I much preferred 3D to 2D. And most illustrators, scientific are all illustrations. They're all drawn out. So I got hooked into the 3D stuff like sculpture and ceramics.
All right. Well, in a little teeny tiny way, I can identify with what you're talking about because in biology classes in high school, the part I enjoyed the most was the part everybody else hated, and that was when we got to the point where we had to draw.
Oh yeah. What you saw when you're
what we did.
Stuff. Yeah.
And man, I love doing that. So it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
So anyhow, I decided to try and go into biological illustration. So Michigan was one of the 10 schools that had a program.
Ah.
But when I went to talk to them, they said you really should get an art degree, and a bachelor's in art first, and then get because the bio illustrations program was a master's level. And so I said, okay, and I already had applied for an art degree here, so I transferred to Michigan. And then, I had to take all the basic studio classes and everything, which is how I got into ceramics.
Which is how you got into needlepoint, which is how you found Fiddlesticks, which is how you got to be here.
Yeah.
I love
it's
it.
very bizarre.
Okay, now, how did you get to be here?
Oh, okay, it's kind of strange because this is like 31 years ago, right? I walked into Fiddlesticks and the lady behind the counter said, "Were you looking for a job?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
You had that look.
Yeah, like, why am I here? And then she goes, I said, yeah. Yeah, so I started working part-time, full-time, salary owner.
So that must have been, so timing-wise.
When Randy was
So that was,
owner.
must have been just after I was at Fiddlesticks teaching.
Yes.
Which was like the middle 80s, I want to say.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look. I think it was like either 85 or 86, kind of in
Yeah,
that
I
in
think
that
I started
frame.
about 89.
Yeah.
Or something like
Okay, so we're visiting here today with two of the three owners of the shop. So I feel like we should give her a little bit of equal time since she's not here. And that means we can talk about her because she's not here. But keep in mind, she'll be watching this.
that. Yes.
Okay.
So Pam started, she came into the shop one day and she asked to learn how to needlepoint. Well, she was a cross stitcher.
Mhm.
And so at the old store, we had a stairway. And so we sat on the back steps and I showed her how to do basket weave and she just took off.
Oh, that's
And
great.
she's a avid
Stitcher, yeah.
stitcher.
So the three of you became friends before you became co-owners.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Well,
that's great.
Well, we
Kind
were all
of.
shoppers.
I didn't really know anybody until
Yeah.
you
knew
I was
me.
just stitching, you know.
You knew me.
I knew you.
You were busy getting degrees and
Yeah.
flitting all over the planet here.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
All right, so Fiddlesticks 2, everybody wonders what the TOO is.
Yeah.
So it's,
Oh, okay. So when they were selling Fiddlesticks and we were trying to come up with a name, we're like, Jean Anderson, Randy's mom, came up with, why don't you just call it Fiddlesticks 2? You know, because we're the same shop, but new
Different
owners.
owners,
right.
So that's where the TOO came in.
cool. So just like a new generation.
Yes,
That's wonderful.
yes, yeah.
Well, yesterday, about 30 of us, I think, descended on
Yeah.
the shop.
It was
And-
wonderful.
Yeah. Well, wonderful on both sides because everybody just raved about the shop, about all the samples. And interspersed within the interview here, I'll show you a few glimpses of the shop. They pack a lot into their square footage.
Yeah.
So when you come, my biggest piece of advice is take your time, look up, down, left, right. Don't miss anything because two of the pieces that a few people missed, and then last night at dinner I mentioned it, and they were like, "Oh, how do we get those now? Tomorrow we have to get off the ship, which is today. I'm off the ship and spending the day here at the shop and just enjoying the island." So let me show you these two pieces. So the first one, I keep calling her the mermaid, but she's the hula girl, and
Leilani.
okay, so tell us about this because you're the one who stitched this.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this is actually, we were talking about beading. This is one of my early experiences in beading. So it was like, there's a lot more beading than I thought, than it looked like, you know. It's cross stitch and it's
But if people are interested in this, they can contact you to kit it up for them.
right,
And then you'll include the chart.
right.
Okay. And so I'll include the email address or phone number or however
Right.
you want people to get
Oh,
in touch
thank
with.
you.
Yeah.
So that's one piece.
This is Leilani, the hula
And,
dancer.
And we were talking a little bit about beading, and don't let it intimidate you at all because it really it's like doing cross stitch with a bead on your
Yeah.
thread. So it's not impossible. So that's one, and I'll show some close-ups of that too. And then this one is an exclusive designed by
Jeanette
Douglas. Okay, and I mean this is just absolutely gorgeous. So tell us how did
She
this come about?
Yeah.
So she, designed this for as an exclusive for our shop and for her class
Mm-hmm.
on the ship.
Okay.
So yeah,
Good. And so again, if you're interested in this, we'll have the contact information, and they can get the chart and all the threads and everything from Fiddlesticks too.
Yeah, some of that is over one, too.
Okay. Yeah, and there's Bargello, a couple little specialty stitches, and I know. I mean, Jeanette has wonderful diagrams, so
Yeah.
Yes.
you know you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have the three of you had the shop?
since 2010.
Okay, so 12 years. So that's a good hunk of time for a shop, and of course you had to manage through COVID,
Yeah.
and now you know the world is opening up
Now
and
we're-
cruise ships are coming. And I imagine, I mean, I could tell yesterday talking to the people that were sitting around this table stitching, have a very loyal local group of stitchers. But I imagine you depend a lot on
Visitors,
people coming to
yeah.
visit the island.
Depend on everyone.
Yeah. And by the way, if you do come here on a cruise ship, it's less than 10 minutes by Uber or Lyft from the cruise ship. Just
Oh, yeah,
call,
that's good.
give them the address of the shop, and they will bring you right to the door. So, and you're open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's great for people that are coming to
Yeah.
Yeah.
visit.
And we're
Okay.
only 10 to 15 minutes from the airport. So, because we have had people
Oh,
come from the airport straight to here, and we go, really?
Yeah. yeah. So if you end up with a layover, again, you know, come to the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, come to the shop. See, I haven't been off the ship long enough to get my
Sea legs.
Yeah, except it's my sea voice.
Your language, yeah.
Any excuse.
Right.
So whether you're coming for a day, a week, or whatever, you need to come to the shop because they do have a wonderful array of both counted thread, cross stitch, needlepoint, just everything, you know.
You're so
wonderful.
kind. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I'm only speaking the truth. So, okay, so my two favorite questions to ask shop owners. What has been your biggest challenge?
Keeping afloat.
Speaking of boats. But I imagine being on an island adds a little bit more of a challenge, because everything has to
shipped.
come by air freight
Right.
or sea freight.
Mhm.
So that adds a whole layer of expense and
Right.
time that most shop owners don't have to deal with.
Yeah. When COVID hit, it took like 6 months to get an order in of
Yeah.
thread or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's still not up to what it used to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, and
You know,
I
but-
have to say, by and large, I think cross stitchers have been understanding and patient with shop owners.
Yes,
They know it's
yeah.
not the shop; it's in the pipeline
Yeah.
somewhere.
Right.
And as we sat on the ship, and it overlooks an area where there's a lot of the those containers that come in.
Oh,
by
yeah,
ship.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, I wonder what's in those containers. I wonder if it's something that somebody is waiting for somewhere. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so what has been your biggest joy in having a shop?
Customers.
I think so. It's our customers and the camaraderie.
They're very enthusiastic. For a while, we were running marathon stitchings, you know, when we could afford it. So it's 8 in the morning to 8 at night. We provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, you know, people come in the morning and they have breakfast and start stitching and they start yakking. And then from about lunchtime on, it's mostly yakking.
Yeah.
It's just
But,
like
you know,
camaraderie.
eating, yeah. They're very enthusiastic about it.
So a 12-hour marathon.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
sounds like fun.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
That was before COVID. After
Yeah.
that, we.
So you're gonna be picking that back up again sometime?
We hope so.
Good.
If I can stay up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, in an attempt to find blessings where you can find them, I think that one of the things that's been good from COVID is that people are much more likely to reach out to shops by phone and by email.
Mhm.
That shops don't have to have a robust online presence. You don't have to have the website that lets you click on everything, there are shop owners that take phone calls, and the person just says, "This is what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
You know, do you have it?" And then while you're on the phone, "Well, we also have this," or "Would you be interested in that?" or
Yeah.
whatever. So I think that that's been one of the kind of good things, is that people have been more likely to shop long distance
Mhm.
with otherwise local shops. So that's been great.
It's been unfortunate that so many shops have closed.
Yeah.
Well, and that has
On the
happened, but
mainland.
I've also seen several shops that opened during COVID.
Oh, really?
I can think of two
Yeah.
right off the bat that are doing fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So they just, didn't let the defeat them,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's good.
just kind of figured out what adjustments they had to make. So yeah. So I've seen frankly I've seen both extremes. I've seen shops that have said, "Oh, COVID, it's it's killing shops," and they just give up. And then I've got the other shop owners that say, "Oh wow, people are staying at home more,
Mm-hmm.
and they're more likely to pick up the phone and call just to chat and listen, while I have you on the phone, do you have such and such?" Or they call about something and then they end up just chatting. And Zoom classes and
Mm-hmm.
that whole Zoom social hour,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I've seen people embrace the problem and find solutions that have allowed them to continue. So it happens both ways. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Well, during COVID, we had to close twice for a month
Yeah. At a time.
each at a
Yeah.
time.
And a lot of it has also depended on the local government as far as restrictions
Yes.
that have
Yeah.
have
And then
come
we had
about.
support. They have the
PPP.
the different plans for
Right.
small businesses.
Right.
So they either give us a forgiveness loan,
Mhm.
which was great because it's more like a grant.
Yeah.
They take out a loan, but at the end of the time period, they ask all these questions. What did you use the money for? Blah blah blah, and they forgive the loan.
Okay.
So, it's a way for them to give money to the small business owners.
Well,
To help.
so
Yeah.
you get into start talking about taxes and you get into a whole political
yeah.
thing. But for those of you who pay taxes and do needlework are very happy that our tax dollars went to such a good cause.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Well, listen, we have the day to just explore the island. We're going to be just driving around and seeing what we can see because our flights don't leave until later tonight. And then once I get to Denver, then I'll be editing this and get it up on the Floss Tube channel as soon as I can. So thanks for watching so far. Thanks so much for hosting us. And,
Thanks for
I really
coming.
do appreciate it.
It's Jean Farish Day, by the way.
Yeah.
Or so your phone tells you.
And my phone said it's Jean Farish Day.
Oh.
So,
And we're already talking about me coming back and teaching.
yes, that would be awesome.
Got to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
I love the piece you did. That's so nice.
Yeah, you asked about that before. Teaching on a ship has its limitations, and it really was not going to fit in my luggage.
Oh,
So
okay.
I started to teach it with photos. So
Oh, is that right?
yeah, so I didn't actually have the piece with me,
Oh.
Oh, okay.
but
Very impressive. I love it.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Till later.
Aloha.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, aloha. Yeah, aloha.